Hey guys, hello YouTube, this is your boy Kyle, aka Vulcan Wolverine, aka Vulcan Wolverine 2. Saturday night, here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, it's about 7:20 p.m. on Saturday night. I wanted to do a live stream tonight and a hangout, but I'm really tired, and so I wasn't going to do anything, but I was like, well, instead of just doing nothing, I'd go ahead and do a short video giving you all the information to call University of Penn, and then showing you all the doctors that I think that Dr. Hoffer was talking about to get in contact with. I've been doing other stuff, so I've been kind of putting off the University of Penn stuff. And I called on Friday, but it was after hours, and they're not open on the weekend. So I'm really gonna get on that next, next week, like at the beginning of next week. I'm gonna call in and make sure that these are the right doctors for me to contact, or just make sure which doctors I need to contact to send in my MRI from 2013 and my DTI from 2000, I think it was 2018. I have my DTI in, and then I'll give y'all, I'll give y'all updates on that. So tonight we are going to go through some of that information. Let me go to the University of Penn website, and I'll give y'all that number so you guys can call too. These are, Dr. Hoffer told me when I went to see him that the neurologist that we'd want to contact to help us with our DTIs, brain images or anything like that. And I think DTIs are going to be are pretty much our only hope there, because it's going to show damage to the white matter tracts, changes to the white matter tracts. But he said it's going to be the three doctors on the JAMA report for the Cuban embassy attack. So Cuban embassy attacks happen, and then the embassy workers. I'm very, very tired tonight. This is kind of complicated information on the JAMA report, so I'm going to go through it as best as I can, but I'm definitely going to put the descriptions, put the descriptions in the video, in the description of the video when I put it up. So let me go to the University of Penn website, guys. I have that pulled up. Here it is. I'm also going to put this link in the description, and you see the 215-662-2700. That's the Department of Neurology at the University of Pennsylvania. Let's go up to the top of the page, and I'll just show y'all. Penn Medicine, Department of Neurology. This is who Dr. Hoffer is directing me towards. He said these would be the neurologists that could help us. Can we trust them? Are they contracted with the DoD to check on the Cuban embassy workers? I think probably they were contracted by the DoD to look at the Cuban embassy workers and do the JAMA report, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're contracted to do this experimentation, right? And kind of at this point, I don't care. I don't care. I want to run up the field, right? We got to go up the field. We got to take risks. I'm gonna call and see. And so I've showed y'all the University of Penn website, 215-662-2700. These are, and let me show you the three names on the JAMA report that I think are the doctors that Dr. Hoffer was talking about, because he said the three top doctors on the JAMA report for the neuroimaging for the Cuban embassy workers, those would be the neurologists that we want to contact and see if they can look at our images, DTIs especially. Some of you guys, maybe they can do DTIs if you can travel to the University of Penn, make an appointment there, especially if you're a targeted individual in Pennsylvania. I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to make copies of my MRI from 2013 and copies of my DTI from 2018, so they'll have a comparison from 2013, what my brain looked like. I wish I would have gotten a DTI back then, but I didn't even know to get a DTI in 2013, but at least I'll have an MRI from 2013 and then a DTI from 2018, and I'm going to see if I can send it to one of these doctors. So this is the JAMA report for the neuroimaging findings in U.S. government personnel with possible exposure to directional phenomena in Havana, Cuba. And as we know, the directional phenomena is directed energy weapons, remote directed energy weapons, remote neuro weapons. They're saying sonic weapons and stuff like that, but you know, I think by now, you know, and I'm going to go through some articles. I don't know if I'm going to go through those tonight because I am tired. I want to keep this kind of short, and when I'm feeling, this is what I'm going to do. I'm trying to find kind of a new balance because I am exhausted. Really exhausted trying to get pumped up. I definitely just couldn't. I don't think I'm going to be able to sit, focus on a live stream on the chat, and then I wanted to do a hangout, but I probably will be doing that either today or tomorrow, and just trying to get my energy levels up. I wish that like we were in a video game or something like Mario Brothers where I could get some kind of mushroom and grow bigger and get energy or something like that. But I'm doing it the old-fashioned way: vitamins, ZVS driver, trying to get sleep and stuff like that. And yeah, and I'll talk about some other stuff on the Hangouts, but I just want to kind of stick to this and keep it short and sweet. I hope you guys are doing well out there. Welcome to the war, right? Every day is a crazy war. And I was on the phone today with a lot of great TIs, and one of my friends. I can't go into detail, but one of my TI friends has a good lead. He has a really good lead. So a lot of targeted individuals. So the point is, a lot of targeted individuals, and when I say lead, I mean like solution, like for themselves to make their own life better and to maybe put some useful information out for all of us as targeted individuals. It's basically the world. It's basically anybody who's not. Well, even some of the people who are probably microwaving us with the weapons are also being neuroweaponed too, you know, so probably a big percentage. These stupid hearing aids. Okay, so bear with me tonight, guys. I'm going to try and keep it short, but I'm going to be doing some more stuff. I'm just trying to, like, instead of doing nothing, because that's what I was going to do tonight. I was like, I'm so tired. I'm just going to, like, sit and blob out and play video games. I thought I could at least get this important information out. It won't get lost in a long live stream. And I'll put I'll put the links in the description so you guys can take a look at this JAMA report, and you can take a look at the UPenn neurology page, because that's where Dr. Hoffer is leading me to. I think we're going to have to take some risks on what doctors we trust, whether or not they've been given gag orders and can't talk about certain things. What this is exactly, I don't know, but we got to run up the field. We got to take chances. We've got to do this stuff, I don't know if the best way to say it is like chasing leads, like a journalist or something. But I mean it works, right? We got to chase some leads. We got to just whatever solutions, defensive solutions, doctors that will help us. Anything and everything to get downfield to that end zone, which is this program ending. But I'm hoping some good things can happen along the way, if that's going to take a while, that we'll find more defensive solutions that are more 100% that our attackers can adapt to. And then my brain's blanking out, but like we can just the market for defensive products will grow. Plus, like a lot of this, the consumer technologies and medical technologies, hopefully we'll be able to use some of those. Hopefully we'll be able to use some of those to actually combat some of these directed energy weapon attacks. So let me read through some of this. So the three doctors, and this is what I think. I'm gonna double check either Monday or Tuesday with the University of Penn if these are the 3 doctors that Dr. Hoffer was talking about, I guess I'm just going to straight up tell him the situation, that I'm a targeted individual, and that Dr. Hoffer was directing me to the University of Penn, and I want to get the names and see if I can send my MRI and DTI to one of these 3 doctors that was involved in this JAMA report for the Cuban embassy workers. So let me read some of it. And the 3 names, so neuroimaging findings in U.S. government personnel with possible exposure to directional phenomena in Havana, Cuba. All this stuff is concrete data. What you guys got to understand, a lot of you do understand this, but if anything's happening in the world, right? If anything's happening in the world, no matter what it is, no matter if it's covered up and everybody's like national security or you're mentally ill or blah 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 blah, it's going to be written about. Like, there's going to be information on it. There's going to be scientific information on it. There's going to be scientific papers on it. There's going to be people like James G. Adorno. There's going to be hospitals that have dealt with it. We're at that point. We're at that point where there's 60 Minutes episodes on the China consulate workers getting hit with this stuff. The Cuban embassy attacks are still in mainstream articles. It's not gonna. People aren't gonna stop talking about this. We got to roll that boulder, right? So you gotta realize that like there's this spell of like this, nobody's talking about this, and there's nothing written. There's tons of stuff written about neuroweapons, tons of stuff written about remote neuroweapons. We can't exactly get the integrated weapons platforms and get pictures of them and get the those are obviously hidden from the public's view, and you got to have top secret clearances and stuff like that. But the effects of these weapons, people that have been hit by them, scientists that have checked out their brains, their nervous systems, things like that, and also the patents and everything for the apparatuses that are manufactured and put into these integrated weapon systems, they're all written about. The stuff is out there. So I'd like to see, and this isn't, lots of targeted individuals doing a great job speaking out. We're trying to hold on to our sanity in our physical health, which is very hard. But some of you guys, I know that giving our testimonies out is important, right? Talking about what's going on with us every day. A lot of targeted individuals are just really, just putting that information out. But you got to realize that a lot of the information, hardcore scientific documented information, if we put that out, it's harder for people who are not directly targeted to just say, oh, well, that's just mental illness, that's just your story, that's just what you think. When we put these concrete things out, well, and also concrete evidence, right? The readings of electromagnetic frequencies that are hitting you, that's good. Recordings of V2K, that's good. All this stuff is good, but the more concrete stuff that we can put out saying, look at this article, look at the JAMA report, Journal of American Medicine, Medical Association, I think that's it. It's so concrete, you put it in people's faces, you get it to a point where they can't deny it. I've got to get some more of these sticky things for my transcranial stimulation device, because they keep falling off, and I keep doing this the whole time. I hate it, but I have to do it for videos. Like, y'all notice that I have it on every video, because if I don't put on these transcranial stimulation devices that are, it's passing conduction along the skin, and it's interfering with that anxiety that my attackers can give me through my peripheral nervous system, through remote neural manipulation. I'm toning it down with the ZVS driver, with my ZVS driver and other things I'm doing in the noise canceling hearing aids, and then using Dave Case's CD every night. But like, usually they'll hit me pretty hard with remote neural manipulation when I'm doing a video to get really, really anxious. And so if I use these, I don't feel that. Like, it cuts off some of the peripheral nervous system manipulation that they do with remote neural manipulation. So that's why I wear them every video I do, every live stream and stuff. It does suck doing videos without a live stream. I already don't like it. I haven't done it in a while. And I already like the live streams better. I'm missing you guys saying hey to all y'all and y'all's awesome comments. But let me keep this short. I know probably this isn't something that will be ultra fun to watch on a Saturday night, but I'm a pretty interesting looking guy. You can look at my face. I got this got a zit here because I'm always rubbing my cheek. They hit me in my cheek, and then they stimulate the vagus nerve and trigeminal nerve. I get a lot of pain over here, and I'm always touching it. I'm always going like this, and I got a pimple over here because I was touching it so much, and then now it's a scab. It's a pretty unique thing to look at on a Saturday night. Probably gross some of you guys out. Okay, so these are Regina Verma, PhD. I think she's a radiologist. Then Randall L. Swanson, DO, PhD, and then Drew Parker, BS. They were the ones who wrote this, who contributed to this JAMA report. Let's go ahead and read some of it. I've got to check. I'm not sure. I think those are the three doctors that Dr. Hoffer was pointing me to. I'm going to cross-reference those names with when I call the University of Penn on Monday or Tuesday. I'm really going to get on the ball. I've been doing other stuff like defensive stuff and kind of just trying to not collapse, because this is very tiring, like dealing with all this crap and the gang stalking and V2K, layers of V2K and stuff like that. Just a crazy. This whole targeting is it's just, I'll just say the obvious. It's like completely out of hand, right? It's a global genocide, global Satanism. Targeted individuals have been set up for satanic ritual, that's planned for the rest of their life. And there's experimentation and science that goes in. I don't know if you can call it science. You can't just call randomly experimenting on somebody science, because science has justice and honesty and integrity. That's what science is. This is obliteration. I think a lot of our experimentation, what they're doing to our brains and torturing us and trying to get us to do crazy things, I think it's just stored, like the data is stored from that, and most of it will never be seen. Like it won't be used. You know what I'm saying? So it's like just wasting lives. So I'd say, like, we've been set up for like satanic ritual killing slowly for the rest of our life, for evil people who do give in to this larger system to feed off of, to feed off of good families and good people for whatever reason, because they don't have a soul or a conscience, or they just decided that this is how life is, or whatever stupid ideas that evil people have. I don't understand them. I don't understand evil people or people who give in to evil. I don't get it. I don't care. I'll go through them. Anybody who gets in our way, may their Lord Satan have mercy on their soul, because we're going up the effing field. You know what I'm saying, dog? Okay. So, so let's read some of this. So Drew Parker, Randall L. Swanson, and Regina Verma. We are going up the field, guys. Talking to some really smart targeted individuals, and they are running up the field. Targeted Justice is doing a bunch of big stuff. I'm gonna read some of the things off of their website. On my next live stream probably. I don't know. I got so much stuff to go through. Okay, I'm gonna stop babbling and let's get to it. It's hard to make this stuff entertaining and fun, but it's information that I gotta get out there. It's on my plate. It's concrete data of these remote directed energy weapons, these remote neuro weapons being used on many, many people. There are many, many more than just the 40 or so embassy workers, the American embassy workers in Cuba. There's also Canadian embassy workers, but then there were also just tourists, just American tourists, Canadian tourists, tourists from around the world who stayed in Havana, who were being experimented on, heard the tinnitus sound, were being attacked by these remote weapons. So lots of experimentation in Cuba going on, not just on these 40 American embassy workers, right? And I'll keep talking about the Cuban embassy attack. I'll keep talking about the China consulate attack. We gotta just keep talking about these crucial crux points of this technology rearing its ugly head into the mainstream, right? Just got to keep talking about it. And then there's tons of other stuff coming out too. So, key points question: do advanced neuroimaging findings differ between U.S. government personnel who experience neurological signs and symptoms after potential exposure to directional phenomena in Havana, Cuba, and individuals not exposed to directional phenomena? Findings: in the study comparing 40 U.S. government personnel with 48 healthy controls, advanced brain magnetic resonance imaging techniques revealed significant between-group differences in whole brain white matter volume. So changes in the white matter tracks, in the white matter of the brain. I would look some of that up now, but I kind of want to go through this. We'll go through some more. I'll keep going over this information and stuff and throwing it in there, because the white matter tracks of our brain and how they're changed by remote neural manipulation, by these electromagnetic pulses, how it's interacting with our vestibular system, and blood vessels it's cavitating blood vessels, and then it's sending this signal to the brain, and it's changing our white matter tracks. It changes the way we learn, our memory, and things like that. It actually changes the volume of how much white matter you have in your brain. So that's going to be a huge piece of evidence. I tried to get my regular neurologist to help me on this, but that was he got very scared. It's almost like he knew what was going on, and he didn't want to see me again. And then he made somebody else write the report and all this crap. So I'm hoping that these guys won't shy away from it. They'll have already looked at the Cuban embassy workers, and they'll know that this stuff is going on. Dr. Hoffer seemed to have a lot of hope that there were doctors that could help us. Sometimes my human mind is like, man, nobody's helping us. But we're gonna still push up the field. We're gonna find it. We're gonna find these solutions. We're gonna find a way. I just know we are. I know it. I just know it. I know deep down within a part of me that is not necessarily just my brain or my body. Something that science can't account for, and it's directly connected to God. We got to use that. We got to hold on to it for hope, because this is a bleak. Just makes me see a lot of these humans involved. And how did this happen? How do people give into this? Because this is the destruction of humanity, and just their evolving deceit. How to lie to people, how to surveillance role play, how to infiltrate, that's all evolving. Lying is evolving, and that destroys the human heart. It destroys the human heart, what it means to be a human, our legacy that we leave to our children, our nieces, our nephews, our parents want to leave to us, to reach for the star, to our destinies. And there's no justification for sacrificing innocent lives to do anything, because that will be darkness. It will lead to darkness. But the deceit is just at a sickening level. I mean, it's just oof. Okay, but yeah, the weapons are bad. I just sometimes think that the deceit of these people involved in gang stalking and killing people with these microwave weapons and on the V2K on surveillance, I just sometimes think that's way more deadly than microwaves. But okay, so findings. I'm getting all. I just want to make this short, guys. So, I got a problem with that. I'm still doing it. Okay, so. Findings in this study comparing 40 U.S. government personnel with 48 healthy controls, advanced brain magnetic resonance imaging techniques revealed significant between-group differences in whole brain white matter volume, regional gray and white matter volume, cerebellar tissue, microstructural integrity. Wow, it's a great thing to try and do when I'm really tired. And functional connectivity in the auditory, functional connectivity in the auditory in visuospatial subnetworks, but not in the executive control subnetworks. So they're talking about like functional connectivity from the vestibular system to your auditory, to the to your visual cortex, to your auditory cortex, right? The connection from your vestibular system to your brain. There's functional connectivity, a difference in the integrity of the functional connectivity in the auditory and visuospatial subnetworks in the brain, because that's what remote neural manipulation, remote neural monitoring is going to affect. So meaning, neuroimaging findings differ between controls and U.S. government personnel. Neuroimaging findings differed. They differed between the controls, which means the people who were not exposed to this directional phenomena, the directed energy weapons that hit the Cuban embassy workers, differed between controls and U.S. government personnel who experienced neurological signs and symptoms after potential directional phenomena exposure in Havana, Cuba. Although the clinical relevance of these differences is uncertain and may require further study. Maybe, this is what I'm hoping, right? So they've studied the Cuban embassy workers, they've written the JAMA report on that. More targeted individuals can contact these guys who wrote this JAMA report at the University of Penn, give our DTIs to them, maybe get them to do DTIs, right? They will have more information to write medical papers, right, and spread it all over the medical community that this is happening, that this directional phenomena, what targeted individuals call our murder, being murdered, you know, by microwaves, by microwave pulses, by neuroweapons, remote neural manipulation, directed energy weapons, then they can start to spread this information around. They can get more information, and the people who are being affected by this, which is millions globally, maybe more, right? I guess it could be more than millions. But they can get more information, and then this can come out. This can come out. Good doctors with integrity, you know, and it's going to be, you know, just being a targeted individual who speaks out, it's dangerous. I mean, it's dangerous to speak out. You get punished by terrorists who claim to be fighting terrorism, and a lot of doctors are scared, I think, and they're actually participating. I remember when I was talking to Dr. Hoffer, I think I mentioned this, but I just want to mention it again. I was talking to him, and I was like, yeah, and I think that, you know, some doctors are non-consensually implanting targeted individuals, but they have no idea what it's going to be used for. They don't know that the targeted individual is going to be tortured microwave. And he was like nodding his head. He used a lot of that, like, instead of confirming verbally. But like, it's like he would, like, the stuff that I had studied and just knew about, just knew that, like, not every doctor that non-consensually implants target individuals could be evil and could be like, yeah, we're killing these people. They're connected to a contractor. They're putting in a governmental non-consensual implant, or really a military industrial complex governmental implant, and they have no clue. They're just getting money to do it, and they're like, oh, it must be tracking or some shit like that, right? Or some stuff like that, because I said we're talking about stuff and things science. They were talking about blank and things. I said stuff and things and stuff. Talking about things. Did I say that earlier? I meant to say that. It's something I saw on another YouTube channel, and also saw on another YouTube channel. This one YouTuber calls his people that watch his channel, he calls them his little cherry blossoms. I kind of wanted to do that, but I probably won't add that to my channel, so don't worry, guys. I probably won't call. He say, "Hello, my little cherry blossoms." Hello, my little cherry blossoms. Okay, so let's move on. Unless y'all like it, leave in the comments if you want to be called my little cherry blossoms. My little cherry blossoms. Okay, so abstract importance. United States government personnel experienced potential exposures to uncharacterized directional phenomena while serving in Havana, Cuba from late 2016 through May 2018. The underlying neuroanatomical findings have not been described. Objective: to examine potential differences in brain tissue volume, microstructure, and functional connectivity in government personnel compared with individuals not exposed to directional phenomena. Design, setting, and participants. 40 government personnel, and that's the 40 American Cuban embassy workers, 40 government personnel, patients who were potentially exposed and experienced neurological symptoms underwent evaluation at a U.S. academic medical center from August 21st, 2017 to June 8th, 2018, including advanced structural and functional magnetic resonance imaging. So, structural and functional magnetic resonance imaging is the DTI. Because the MRI is, now I guess you can just have a functional MRI. But I think that they did have DTIs. Okay, they did have DTIs, but I don't think that's necessarily DTI. Findings were compared with imaging findings of 48 demographically similar healthy controls. So exposures, potential exposure to uncharacterized directional phenomena, directed energy weapons, remote neuroweapons, of unknown etiology. See, this is my fear that, these doctors that did this report, they're going to look at some findings and things that they found in the brain, and they probably can say, oh yeah, this is microwave pulses, right? This is microwave pulses to the vestibular system or to the cranial nerves, and they can probably tell, but they may be, the DoD may be holding them back and saying, you gotta just say unknown etiology, right? On these official reports. I hope that's not true. I hope that is not true, and they just have to, maybe they just don't know yet, and they're still kind of studying it. But there's been tons of articles like James G. Adorno coming out, many other doctors saying, yeah, the probability is that it was, electromagnetic pulses, remote electromagnetic energy weapons that affected the brains of the Cuban embassy workers. So, manifesting as pressure, vibration, or sound. Main outcomes and measures: potential imaging-based differences between patients and controls with regard to white matter and gray matter, total regional brain volumes. Okay, so this gets pretty, scientific. I'm going to go ahead and just put this in the description. And then, of course, the results. All the results are going to be pretty complicated. Let's go to a summary. Conclusions and relevance. Among U.S. government personnel in Havana, Cuba, with potential exposure to directional phenomena compared with healthy controls, advanced brain magnetic resonance imaging revealed significant differences in whole brain white matter volume, regional and white matter volume, cerebral tissue microstructural integrity, and functional connectivity in the auditory and visuospatial subnetworks, but not in the executive control subnetwork. The clinical importance of these differences is uncertain and may require further study. Okay, so we kind of already read that. Okay, so we know what happened in Cuba. I think a lot of people maybe don't know how many people it happened to. It happened to a lot of embassy workers in Canada and the United States, and then tourists, not just American tourists, but other tourists who are staying in certain hotels and things like that. But several U.S. government personnel serving in Havana, Cuba, reported potential directional phenomena exposure between late 2016 and May 2018, and underwent clinical evaluation and treatment at University of Pennsylvania's Center for Brain Injury and Repair. Okay, so I'm going to have to call, that's the number for University of Penn Neurology, that they went through evaluation and treatment at University of Pennsylvania Center for Brain Injury and Repair. I guess that's probably a subsection of the Department of Neurology, but I'm going to find out. I'm going to take this information and ask them, like, where do I go? I'm just going to say, like, I'm a targeted individual experiencing directed energy weapon and neuroweapons attacks. It's affecting my brain. It's affecting my thoughts. It's affecting my nervous system. Can I speak to one of these neurologists? Can I send them my DTIs and MRIs? I should already have this done. But I'm gonna really, really buckle down this week on this. So this cohort, hereafter referred to as patients, was found to have a heterogeneous combination of non-specific neurological manifestations, including ocular motor, so their eyes, their eye movement, oculomotor, vestibular, the vestibular system, the eyes and the ears, connection to the brain. That's what the electromagnetic pulses and electromagnetic field are affecting, or directed energy conducted along the skin. When you get hit in the neck, it's conducting along the skin to the vestibular system. A couple of different ways that they do that, right, with these integrated weapon systems. But ocular motor, the movement of the eyes, the vestibular system, the connection of the eyes and the ears. I don't think it'd be mouth, maybe, no. Yeah, the eyes and the ears would be the main ones. Those connections to the brain, the nerves from the eyes, the nerves from the inner ear to the brain. And cognitive findings that, when persistent, require comprehensive outpatient neurological rehabilitation. I kind of wonder if the Cuban embassy workers got their targeting stopped, right? Because they haven't been speaking out. Some of the China consulate, the China consulate workers, they were able to speak out, right, on 60 Minutes and other news outlets. I haven't seen anybody, like, even in a news article, I've not seen any of the Cuban embassy workers speaking out individually. So I think that they were pretty much gagged, by the United States government, which is, suspicious. It's obviously suspicious. But right, I kind of wonder if some of their targeting didn't stop. If some of it did. I'm very interested to know that. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe, I don't know. I hope soon that they're able to speak out. But, I don't know. That's doubtful. As reported previously, clinical neuroradiological evaluation focused primarily on a review of conventional fluid attenuated inversion recovery. I have no idea what that means. And T1 and T2 weighted magnetic resonant imaging acquisitions did not identify an underlying neuroanatomic basis for the observed clinical manifestations. I don't know. Okay, so as part of the investigation of the patient's signs and symptoms, advanced neuroimaging was conducted with multimodal MRI. Okay, so here we go. Multimodal MRI, including conventional 3D FLAIR, T1 and T2 weighted, and more advanced diffusion MRI, diffusion tensor imaging, DTI. That's what I had done at my regular neurologist, and I'm going to send to them. That's where they found the differences in volume in the white matter tracts, the changes in the white matter tracts, basically. Damages to the white matter tracts. That's in the DTI, that's where they found them. We need to be getting DTIs, but a regular neurologist probably isn't going to see what these guys could see, the microwaves, the remote electromagnetic frequencies were causing as it interacted with the vestibular system to the brain, right? I think this remote neural manipulation causes massive changes in volume and just other changes in shape to the white matter tracts of the brain. And I have some videos about the white matter tracts and where they are, but I'm kind of unclear about exactly. It's like they branch out through the brain, and it has a lot to do with how we learn new things. I'm not sure if it has to do with behavior, but I've gone over that in a video in the past. I'll probably go over it some more. But that's the important one, the DTI, the diffusion tensor imaging, right? And its higher angular counterpart in resting state functional MRI, RS fMRI. The multimodal imaging-based investigation was undertaken to examine potential differences in brain volume, tissue, microstructural integrity, and functional connectivity, each with their own hypothesis, between the patients who had reported potential directional phenomena exposure while serving in Havana, Cuba, and demographically similar healthy controls. So let's go to, because it's just a bunch of kind of scientific jargon about it, but they're basically just saying that there were many differences in not just the white matter tracts, but integrity of the vestibular system, how it was connected to the brain, the functionality, strength of that connection to the brain, right? The microstructural integrity of the brain, which basically is just like how the brain functions on a neurological level. There are many differences between people who are not exposed to this to the people who we're exposed to the directional phenomena of undiagnosed origin, which we know is remote neuroweapons, remote directed energy weapons. Interaction. It's like electromagnetic pulses, electromagnetic fields, and directional, bidirectional streams of energy with the brain and the nervous system. It caused a lot of changes in the brain, caused a lot of changes in connectivity of the vestibular, the functionality of the vestibular system connection to the brain, and then just changes to not just the white matter tracts, but structural integrity of the brain. But on a level that maybe that my regular neurologist would not see, would not be looking for, right? Because these are like the best neurologists in the country, for the U.S. government or whatever, to get them to do the JAMA report and look into the Cuban embassy workers. I just if they went to these doctors, I'm just a little bit doubtful that they're going to blow this thing wide open. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we could get more information. They could definitely look at a DTI and say, yes, your white matter tracts are affected. Draw out a report, so then we could take it from there somewhere else and use it as evidence, right? So Targeted Justice has the lawyer right now, and they're doing a bunch of stuff. So if we can get these, we can have all of our other evidence, but then we can start getting our DTIs. If we can get these guys to give us reports saying, yes, your white matter tracts are certainly changed like the Cuban embassy workers, put that evidence on that stack, right? Stack it up, rack it up, rack it up. But you know what I'm saying? It's more evidence, and I think that we need the DTI with doctors who would understand changes in volume, changes in the white matter tracts, just to be basic. It'd be some good evidence to stack up on all of our other evidence that's reaching to the sky, and people are still saying this isn't happening, or whatever BS that the mainstream lie is, or whatever. I was talking to a targeted individual friend today, and I was just saying what people believe in normal society is like the conspiracy theory, complete just clown world nonsense. And then what conspiracy theorists are saying, which, I guess that completely screws over my video, right? Because I said conspiracy theories. I'll say it a million times. Actually, I guess I shouldn't say that. Conspiracy facts, but the people who are called conspiracy theorists, they're actually talking about the reality of society. Or at least we are. At least targeted individuals are. There are some pretty crazy conspiracy theories that I don't think are going on, but they would call us mental illness or conspiracy theorists, and what we're talking about is something very, very serious going on in society, and we should never stop talking about it. Awareness has to come out. This has to grow, So, and we will do it, my little cherry blossoms. I don't think that's gonna catch on. Okay. Okay, so a lot of this stuff is very scientific, and I think y'all are probably gonna get bored. So let's just see if there's anything else. That's the main information. The 3 doctors, University of Penn neurology. I'm gonna have to get more information and update y'all, but some of y'all can call too. We gotta just go up the field. I know that maybe some target individuals would be wary about going to these neurologists at University of Penn, but I'm at this point, guys, I don't care. I don't care. I'm just gonna go to whoever I think can help. And I don't see how I could be hurt any worse. Honestly, I'm doing good. My defense are doing good, so I'm not trying to complain a bunch. I'm just really tired right now. And the ZVS driver is not as effective as it was at the beginning. I'd say it's about a 70% effective for me. And so I've been talking to some other targeted individuals, and they're saying it is losing effectiveness, but not total effectiveness. So I do want to let y'all know that and I'm going to be experimenting with a double field. I'm going to be getting another one, experimenting with like this super powerful scalar field. But yeah, I mean, it's like that's kind of what happens with all the defenses, and I really want to be completely honest about that. I'd still really recommend getting one and putting it together. You'll have a lot of relief. Even when your attackers adapt to it a little bit, you'll still be getting relief. I wake up without my body being sore all the way down my back and on my neck. I do kind of get headaches a little bit and stuff like that. Remote neural manipulation, B2K, but a lot of things are very, very neutralized. My attackers do still get through with some, some other things. They've switched up things. They've kind of adapted. And that's like I was telling my target individual friend today, that the lady who, I forgot her name. Oh, I forgot her name. I was looking, she set it up. I'm sorry. Map Oyakab. She put one together because she saw that the German TI was talking about it. She put one together, and yet, and she used it, and yet she still went to the BBC rally. And I mentioned that before I got this EVS driver and put it together. So there was always kind of a, there's always kind of something in my mind saying, I think this will work, but it's not going to be 100%. It's working with these defenses, the grounding, Dave KC, me and my target individual friend. It's Jeff. I was talking to Jeff today. Actually, I talked to a couple of people, a couple of TIs, but it was Jeff that we were talking about, where I was saying like, that old, I already forgot the name. Map Oyakab, that's her channel on YouTube, and check it out. She's awesome. I was saying she still went to the BBC rally, so I was like, yeah, it probably didn't just fix everything. It probably just didn't. So going into it, I was kind of like, I hope it's 100%, and I hope I'm still going to be experimenting with another one, and I would recommend it. It gives relief. Like I'm not, I just want to be completely honest. I don't want to say, hey, this is like 100% cure. Because when I do find that 100% cure, or when we do find the 100% cure, I want y'all to know that I'm going to be honest about it. I want y'all to know that I've been honest about the defenses so far. They do help, but attackers do adapt to them, right? And I saw that Brian, too, had put out, oh, I guess I won't go into that. I don't want to talk about that right now. Like, I just disagree with him on a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that I've actually tested and it works, and then he's saying that that's like people who say stuff works, or I don't know. I didn't watch the video. Somebody told me that he said like the ZVS driver was BS or whatever. That's kind of upsetting because you can't not try these things. Like he's not tried Dave Case's CD. He hasn't tried these things, and he just says no way based off of theory that he kind of guesses at. Now, that's not to say, like, I love Brian. He's a good guy. He's being harmed seriously with targeting. And he is my brother in Christ. He's also my brother, targeted individual brother. So I like Brian. We just have disagreements. Whatever. We all have disagreements. All this is complicated. A big pile of poo and chaos. But we just got to keep moving forward. We've got to try things, and that's one thing. I just want to make sure that I'm honest about how this is working. If you are a targeted individual who's trying with ZVS, don't be honest about this. Be honest and say like say it kind of still works, but it's weak. And we got to be honest about these defenses so we'll know what kind of works. And also we got to be honest so that when we do find things that are so much better, that people don't just say, oh, this is just another thing, and people are saying it works, but it doesn't, right? So I want to make sure that I do that. We got to do this by the numbers, right? Or as best as we can. As best as we can, because I'm a disorganized person, especially being targeted. I try and be as organized as I can. I'm trying to get more organized. We got to just try and be as organized and scientific as we can. And obviously, if these attackers are deceitful and these murderers are deceitful and our system has failed because it's such a lying you know, lying system filled with garbage. We need to be honest. Like, that's how we're going to win. We're going to keep our integrity. We're going to stay close to God. You know, the top of the pyramid wants everybody lying to each other, to destroy each other, to destroy us, to destroy humanity, and make us weak. You know, when people lie to each other and stuff like that, do crimes to each other and think they're above each other, can rape each other or whatever, all this crap, it weakens humanity, it divides, conquers. You know, we know that it's like obvious. So it's very important that we remain honest. And anybody like trying defenses that I say, hey, that I recommend, you know, I do like, I get really disciplined with stuff. It's harder because it's been so long, so it's like I gotta put on my grounding every time I sit down. I gotta use Dave Case's CD every night. I gotta keep this ZVS driver on. It gets hard after like years and years of keeping up this stuff. But definitely if you're trying this stuff, make sure that when you're saying, oh, it worked kind of like this, make sure you let people know how you used it too. Because like consistently using it all the time can be a big difference from like using it a couple hours a day or something like that, right? And we'll just do the best we can. We'll do the best we can on that. I'd really still recommend it, but like I wasn't getting headaches at the beginning. It was, and my mind felt clear. It feels like I'm getting headaches again, not at the same level, and the remote neural manipulation kind of came back a little bit. But the remote neural manipulation that kind of messes with my mind, right? It kind of interferes with my mind. It feels like that came back a little bit. It feels like the remote neural manipulation that affects my nervous system, that makes my nervous system like burn, like fibromyalgia when I sleep, feels like that's still gone. Like it kept that frequency, whatever electromagnetic frequency they were doing that remote neural manipulation with, it kind of just kept that cut out, but some other things they amped up, you know. It's a confusing mess because, as we know, there are human operators on automated systems. It's not just one solid beam that stays at one frequency. It's human operators that are switching things up, going up and down the electromagnetic spectrum, using different delivery mechanisms, you know, of the infrastructure that they have to hit citizens and actually interact with our brain with these neuroweapons. But so it's a complicated mess, but yeah, I mean, it's still working. It's still working for me. Like Ken says his isn't working as well, but he's not sure. He feels like his attacker started doing different stuff. So I don't know. I'd still recommend it. When I sit by it, I'm still comfortable. I'm gonna just test the power of it, right? I'm gonna get another one and test the power of the field and make sure that it's not just that they're amping things up to get past it, to, you know, see if they're adapting or strengthening it. It still works. It's just like every other defense, like my grounding, even like Dave Case's CD works really, really, really good, and it's knocking everything out because our attackers aren't ready for it, and then they kind of adapt back a little bit, of like 25% or something like that, and then they kind of plateau. That's what I'm experiencing. That's what I'm experiencing, you know. And I want to be very specific about that. You know, I have been slacking on my cleansing, which, you know, you add these things together, right? You use Dave Case CD, ZVS driver, grounding, cleansing, the less EMF headgear, you're going to get better results stacking these things up, right? That's what I always talk about. So I wouldn't know, like, if somebody was just using the ZVS driver, how would that work? I don't know. You'd have to try it. Because I'm using a bunch of other stuff too, so it's all toning it down. But I still, seriously guys, I still really would recommend it. And when I do get my power supply, I'm going to put one together. It's really good results, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, and it doesn't work anymore. No, it still works and it still defends. I just want to be completely honest about how it's happening, because I know a lot of people are going to try it, and I want them to be like, to kind of be expecting the results. If I say like, oh no, 100%, like I'm healed from this, and then a bunch of people start trying it, you know, and I never do that because I'm not a liar. But I want people to kind of know what I've experienced, right? And I'm still excited about it. I'm just really tired right now. You know, you use some of these defenses, they really help and stuff like that. But this is all still really tiring. It's still a war. You know, you're still fighting. Your attackers are still trying to do different stuff. I mean, I can still hear my V2K. It's a little bit lower when I'm sitting right next to the ZVS driver. At the beginning, it was completely distorting it, right? For like the first week, and then they kind of got it back up to low. The woman on the V2K right now just keeps going, he's right, he's right. I kind of think it's the guy modifying his voice to sound like the woman. He keeps going, he's right, he's right. They're like patronizing me. And I think that last live stream was very good. They kind of punished me a little bit for that one. I was kind of proud of my last live stream. Sometimes I'm very amazed. I'm very amazed, and I'm not pointing to my upstairs neighbors. I'm pointing to God. I'm very amazed at how intelligible I sound. Because sometimes I just feel like, oh, my brain doesn't work. And like when I'm off of the videos, like you can talk to some people. I guess I sound okay to them, but sometimes I'm just like, man, what is that? I can't remember. Like my brain just got wiped. Sometimes it's a miracle. Okay, so I'm getting way off track, but I just wanted to talk about a couple of things. I think I missed something. I wanted to say something that me and Jeff were talking about. I can't remember. Okay, so this is all just kind of scientific. We got through the main, you know, what I mainly wanted to say about it, and then I'm gonna check with the University of Pennsylvania and see if we can send our DTIs to them. So let's see if there's anything that kind of wraps it up. And you guys can check this out. You guys who are more detail oriented, who understand this stuff, and want to look at it, and maybe all of you guys, I'll definitely have it in the description. So this is kind of the same thing. I kind of want to read this. Let's see this. Okay, brain tissue volume maps. The T1 weighted images were used for volumetric analysis. Maps of white matter and gray matter tissue volumes were created relative to a reference template scan using the T1 weighted scan. Multi-atlas segment, I don't know what any of this means. Multi-atlas segmentation was used to delineate gray matter, white matter, and cerebrospinal fluid, and deformable registration methods mapped the resultant regional tissue volumes to a standardized reference system for subsequent statistical analysis of volumetric pattern. Okay, so I'm not going to read any of this. It gets way too scientific, and it's Saturday night. I know you guys don't want to hear this. This was maybe the worst material I could have gone through on Saturday night. And I just wanted to keep it short, but apparently I'm incapable of doing that. I gotta get some discipline and just get some of these short videos out, and then I can do live streams where I just talk to you guys and chat. I just have a hard time. I don't know why I have a hard time babble all the time. Okay, so tissue microstructural integrity. We're not going to read that. Functional connectivity. Let's see if this makes any sense to me. The RS fMRI data were used to create functional connectomes by computing the correlation coefficient of functional time series between pairs of regions. Subsequently, auditory, visuospatial, and executive control subnetworks pertaining to those functions were derived from the functional connectomes. So it's just saying how it measured the functional connectivity of those regions of the brain, I guess, with the vestibular system coefficient. Functional connectivity. I guess how fast things connect. I'm not sure, guys. Okay, I don't understand it. Okay, so hypothesis. pre-specified hypothesis-driven analysis were undertaken for brain tissue volume, tissue microstructural integrity, and functional connectivity. Alright, so these are their hypotheses. They thought there would be differences, and then they found out there were, basically. In each of the three modalities, because a subset of patients had a remote history of concussion, prior brain injury, a secondary sensitivity analysis was performed, excluding the prior brain injury group to avoid confounding due to the presence of any prior neurological insult. Another secondary sensitivity analysis was undertaken when possible to assess whether group differences found via the primary hypothesis were consistent when testing patients against each control group separately. Exploratory analyses were undertaken of whole network structural connectivity, whole network functional connectivity, and white matter hyperintensities to assess differences between patients and controls. Yeah, I don't understand any of that, guys. Basically, it's just saying the brains were different of the Cuban embassy workers to the control groups, you know. And then we need to check with these doctors who wrote this report, the neurologists who contributed to this at the University of Penn, send our DTIs in because we would have the same differences in our brain. Maybe some of us even worse, right? Because we've been targeted for so long. We've had our brains messed with by remote neural manipulation, electromagnetic frequencies, for so long that there'd be massive differences in the white matter tracks. It's just a big piece of evidence that we can add into reading the frequencies, our testimonies, you know, recordings of V2K, recordings of the frequencies, you know, burns to the body, which my attackers don't give me a lot of those. I got some at the beginning, like really red skin, but it's like they made sure as we went along to burn my insides, to make sure that they burnt my insides but not my skin. But if any of you guys, they do burn your skin, get that evidence. Get that evidence, because that's going to be major evidence. And then more evidence than that. There's a lot more evidence than that, but I think that the white matter, and I said that, like, I think I was saying this like a year ago or something, but I tried it with my regular neurologist, which was, I'm glad I have the DTI, but there was no way he was going to help me. It would have destroyed his career. You know, he can't, you know, doctors are very scared of this because it's national security, right? The experimentation, torture of innocent citizens, and all this crap is it's national security. And so doctors even know that innocent people are being harmed, but they don't want to touch it because it'll hurt their families. Very sad. Like more than sad. Yeah, way more than sad. Okay, so let's just read the results. A total of 44 patients were referred. Let me take a little. I'm trying to quit. I'm trying, but I don't know. This is tropical flavor. My little cherry blossoms. I just thought it was so funny when he said it. Results. A total of 44 patients were referred for clinical evaluation and treatment following potential exposure to directional phenomena while serving in Havana, Cuba between late 2016 and May 2018. So basically they put the results at the beginning. Advanced neuroimaging was performed for 40 of the 44 patients, including 20 of the 21 individuals described in the previous report. 3 individuals with comorbid neurological conditions, history of moderate to severe traumatic brain injury with a left temporal lobe contusion, congenital neurological insult, and pseudotumor cerebri, respectively. And 1 individual who did not consent to the neuroimaging study were excluded. So they took out the people who had like previous brain injuries from like concussions and stuff like that. And they just kept the control group, no concussions, and then the Cuban embassy workers who were exposed to the directional phenomena, which is directed energy weapons. So remote directed energy, remote neuro weapons, because it's interacting with the brain, right? A neuro weapon is a directed energy weapon. A directed energy weapon is not always a neuro weapon, right? So you got a directed energy weapon. You got an electromagnetic field, and this is just one way that I think they can do it, because I've read a lot of these MIT articles, which I made a video about it, but I'm gonna put it up again. Electromagnetic field with a bidirectional stream of like infrasound, ultrasound, or photonic energy, electromagnetic energy basically, to do remote neural manipulation. Now that's directed energy, right? But then you can also be hit with directed energy, boom, straight to your body. That's not a neuro weapon. That's a directed energy. That's a microwave directed energy weapon. And a lot of targeted individuals have all that used on us, right? Different apparatuses on the integrated weapon systems. From what I've studied, from what I understand, and from what I've experienced. So let's see. I don't know. Among the 40, let's see. Among the 40 patients included, 12 had a remote history of concussion, all with resolution of symptoms prior to directional phenomena exposure, and all 12 were included. The mean age of the patients was 40.4 years. There were 23 men and 17 women. Oh wow! I wanted this to be like 15 minutes. So okay, so let's finish this. Okay, there were 23 men and 17 women, and advanced neuroimaging was performed. A median of 188 days, ranged 4 to 403 days after initial suspected exposure. Among the 40 patients included, 28 were referred for further vestibular and or oculomotor evaluations as part of clinical care and had clinical data available for correlations with neuroimaging findings. So we'd want that. If they could see our DTIs and then say, oh, this, not only our DTIs, but if our DTIs were showing damage to the white matter tracts, we might want to do further testing, right? Our ocular motor function, eye movement, and things like that. And then we could have further testing by these doctors. I got to get a new car so I could maybe drive out there. So please donate to help the channel. PayPal.me/Vulcan Wolverine. Thank you everybody who has donated so far. I haven't gotten a ton of donations, but the people who have, thank you so much, because I'm just going to be using it to chase these leads, to work on defenses and shielding, and just do as much as I can, and probably get a better do things for the channel, like get a better camera and some editing software and things like that, so it looks better and it may get out to more people. And I guess there probably are some non-targeted individuals that watch my channel, and thank you for your support too. If you have a job and you want to support us or you want to support this channel, please do. Because I'm about to hit it. I don't care how bad I feel. I don't care. We've got to make some headway. I know this is big. I know this is a big thing, but there's some angles we can work, right, to make some changes and spread those changes among targeted individuals to make our lives better. And then as we make our lives better and awareness increases and better and good people help us, we can then move forward to the program ending, right? But we want to be making progression every day of making our lives better and being proactive and having hope and putting this information out, and people not being able to be like, oh, that's friggin' crazy. If anybody looks at what I'm putting out, the information I'm putting out now, and says that we're crazy, they're a liar. Like, they're lying. They're either lying to themselves, or they're like lying for one of these agencies. For InfraGard, they're like a cyber stalker. Somebody sent out to disrupt and discredit us, or they're brain damage since birth, maybe. I don't want to make fun of brain injured people, because like I'm brain injured from being targeted, but like if somebody is like a normal human being who's not tasked with cyber disruption and discrediting us or something like that, and they're not necessarily directly targeted, and they say, oh, this stuff's crazy, if they look at this video, then maybe you should go to a neurologist or some kind of like, don't eat crayons. Don't eat crayons. Okay. So, so this is the volumetric analysis, right, of the white matter, whole brain white matter volume of the patients who were hit with the directional phenomenon and the ones that weren't. The ones who were hit with it had less white matter. I'm not going to go through all the numbers and stuff because I wouldn't even understand what I'm reading. I didn't know it was this long, but I'm gonna put it up in the description. Have a subscription to my description, and you guys can kind of go through it later. At least have this as some kind of concrete evidence, because these guys, these Cuban embassy workers, were hit with directed energy weapons and neuro weapons, and this is the JAMA report showing that there were differences in the brain. So as targeted individuals talk about this stuff, we have changes to our brain. We do have brain damage. We do have brain injury. How severe can it be reversed? I don't know. I don't know all that. I know that probably are like microstructural tissue metrics. Like I'm not sure what. I guess what that means. I'm not really sure what that means. Let's read this. Analysis of microstructural tissue metrics. Microstructural tissue metrics of the gray matter. It's like all the stuff around, not the roots of the brain on the inside, but all the gray matter, right? Microstructural tissue metrics of gray matter exhibited non-normal residuals, and differences between patients and controls were assessed with the Mann-Whitney-U test. Results of testing the primary hypothesis in the cerebellum are presented in Figure 2. Results of testing the secondary hypothesis in the cerebrum in Figure 3, as shown in Figure 2. I was just, that was making me thinking, I don't think this is what they're talking about there. I'm going to have to like look that up, because I don't really know exactly what that means. But, I had a really bad headache today, and it was making me weirdly emotional, like up and down emotional. And I was like, it felt like, and this has been before, it wasn't just today that I first felt this, but it felt like my brain was inflamed, like the remote neural manipulation or the microwaves that they were affecting my brain with was actually causing inflammation to the brain, like a swelling, brain swelling. What that does to the brain tissue, right? Can it be detected? Does it swell a little bit and hurt us? And then, like, what kind of neurologist can detect that? Because neurologists detect things like getting hit in the head with a bat and huge things. We're dealing with microwaves affecting the brain, and regular neurologists, they're not trained to deal with that, right? This is like a new thing, a new technology, and then people kind of just reject the idea that microwaves can hurt anybody. Some people, 5G is being put up with millimeter waves. It's like, oh no, microwaves are safe and everything like that. So it's not something that regular neurologists are going to be able to like see the differences in the brain that they need to. That's why we need these guys. That's why we need to talk to the doctors at University of Penn. So, functional connectivity changes, clinical correlations, additional analysis, discussion. They kind of just say the same thing as at the beginning. These findings suggest that there may be differences in brain structure involving several different brain regions, as well as in some functional brain networks. So, advanced brain neuroimaging of a group of U.S. government personnel potentially exposed to directional phenomena while working in Havana, Cuba, showed significant differences in whole brain white matter volume, regional gray and white matter volume, cerebral tissue microstructural integrity, and functional connectivity in the auditory and visuospatial subnetworks. That's an important one, functional connectivity in the auditory and visuospatial networks. It shows what remote neural monitoring and remote neural manipulation, right, are affecting the most. the regions of the brain that they're affecting the most, when they're connecting this, when they're tethering the brain and the nervous system to these neuroweapons, directed energy weapons, right? Okay, I think that's good. I just wanted to go over that basic, the DTIs in the microstructural measures derived from DTI. Patients demonstrated differences compared with controls in both cerebellar and cerebral regions with lower mean diffusivity, radial diffusivity. How do you say that word? And axial diffusivity, and higher fractional anisotropy. Anisotropy. I have never seen that word in my life, and I don't want to see it again in patients. This is in contrast to the increased mean diffusivity and decreased fractional anisotropy observed in other brain disorders such as traumatic brain injury. So there's similarities between what's going on, what they saw in the DTI of the Cuban embassy workers with the directional phenomena, and people who have traumatic brain injury. So targeted individuals, we do technically, like Brian too says, and he's right on this, there's a difference between mental illness and mental injury, and we are sustaining mental injury, that's a fact, and we all know it. We all know it. It's just getting that concrete evidence, right? And I think this is a good pathway to do that. I need to get off my ass. I'm just all over the place doing a bunch of things and just trying to not go insane, right? Dealing with gang stalking and then my attackers, V2K. I'm going to take a V2K break. I'm not. I've been going too long. I just listen to my V2K right now. Very interesting. It's coming from here now. Like it's usually coming over from this side. It seems to be like kind of going. They may be doing that on purpose. Okay, now it's coming from over here. For a second, it sounded like it was coming from over here. They may be doing that because there may be something in schizophrenia where it's not always directional or something like that, and so they may be trying to get me to say like, oh, it's weird that it's coming from this way. Whatever, I don't care about that. I don't care what they're doing. I mean, a protocol is to, while they're attacking us with these weapons, make sure that it looks like schizophrenia. To make sure that it looks like mental illness, to discredit it. So, that's part of it. The guy on V2K just said, "You're right." So he didn't say it in the woman voice. He said it in the guy, "You're right." Jackass. What did he do last night? They made me laugh last night. I can't remember what he said. It's hilarious. I was saying something, and I said it in my live stream too, but I was talking about something, and in Borat, where he says, "Krum," he says, "Krum," and the attack, and I didn't even think it yet, but I knew what it meant. It means the male, the male nutsack, and the male attacker, before I could even, because I was just saying "krum," I already knew what it meant, so I wasn't saying that word in my head, but the male attacker goes, "It means nutsack." He said that, he said that on the V2K, he was saying it to the other people on V2K, or the people that are supposed to be sitting there, which a lot of it's chatterbox, but I think I still do have human operators. Because I just don't know if AI would have done that, but it was funny. He was like, "That means nuts," and I laughed. I laughed for 15 minutes. And I was like, "Oh, thanks, man." I mean, I know that's weird. You're thanking your murderers for making you have a laugh, but it was nice to have a laugh, Krum, if you guys seen Borat, he's always saying, or Ali G. Yeah, he says it in Borat a lot, the show. That means nutsack. probably just made this a very lowbrow. It was going good, right? We were getting some good concrete information out. But that's the kind of crap that happens on B2K. It's so weird. It is like I do have human operators working with brain to computer brain interfaces, and then automated systems that are doing certain things too. Um, it was hilarious because I was just saying the word, and I think I said it on my live stream, and I think it was on TV or something like that, or I was playing a video game and I was like, I'm gonna hit him right in the crumb, and the guy goes like, I don't think I didn't hear the woman go, what is that? I just heard him say, it means nutsack. All right, I'll get off of that, guys. I'm sorry. It's a little bit PG-13 right there. Imaging based limitations. This study has several limitations. First, the effort was not designed as a research study but was undertaken retrospectively using clinical acquired data and measures of deficit assessment. Second, the ideal control cohort composed of unaffected personnel who were identical to those deployed in Cuba was not feasible to obtain. Although the controls recruited for the study were matched on age and sex, and generally matched on race, ethnicity, education, and multifunctional lifestyle of the patients, factors like blood pressure, bilingualism, and life experiences could not be matched. Okay. Conclusions. Okay, they're just saying the same thing that they've been saying the whole time. Corresponding author Regina Verma, PhD, University of Pennsylvania, radiology, and that's the address on the University of Penn website. Accepted for publication June 20th, 2019. Author contributes. Dr. Verma and Smith had full access to all the data in the study and take responsibility for the integrity of the data and the accuracy of the data analysis. So I'm going to have to check. He said the 3 doctors on the JAMA report, and I think there were a couple of JAMA reports, though. I think there were a couple of JAMA reports, but I'm going to call them and just confirm it. I should already have this done by now. Okay, guys, so I'm definitely going to put this information, and there's a lot of, check this out. Okay, disclaimer, the findings and conclusions are those of the authors and should not be construed as officially reflecting the views of the U.S. government or the U.S. State Department, because they have to have plausible deniability, because it's a national security issue that people are being experimented on and hit with these weapons in foreign countries and other countries in our country. Tons of people, proliferation of neuroweapons tethered to people's heads, and directed energy weapons being shooting them and tearing them apart all day long, and worse than that, microwaves raping the crumb. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I shouldn't make a joke about that because I also get hit there, which actually got a new Ziploc bag. I put the copper scrubbies in an older Ziploc bag, and it was like the copper was eating through the bag. It's like this, causing this blue stuff and eating through the bag. But I had it like packaged in like 3 bags or something like that, so it wasn't getting on me or anything. But got my cod piece on. Okay, I forgot what I was saying. Okay, but rape with directed energy weapons too. It's very serious stuff. I'm sorry for joking. I'm really tired, guys, and I'm just this information. I know we kind of all know it, and I know it's kind of hard to get through. Maybe not what you guys wanted on a Saturday night. Probably wanted a lot. I did too. I wanted to make this short because I'm really freaking tired. But I will be doing a live stream soon. And so I was just kind of trying to joke around to get through this kind of boring information. So you guys would maybe sit through it. Or just, if you didn't sit through the whole thing, I guess you won't be hearing this. But but please check out the links in the description. We need to be checking with the University of Pennsylvania, and I'm gonna ask them. I'll update y'all. I'm gonna update y'all on this. See which doctors, will take our DTIs. DTI MRI. So there's a regular MRI. There's like a functional MRI, and then there's a DTI MRI. DTI MRI is gonna show changes in volumes to the white matter tracts and just general changes in the white matter tracks. And there's other functional MRIs and other things, testing they can do. It's probably going to show changes in our vestibular system. It's going to show those changes in the connectivity of our visual cortex and auditory cortex. There's changes to our brain from this. But it's just like you can't go into a regular neurologist because they're not trained on what to look for remote neuroweapons changes to the brain, right? They're looking for like concussions and things like that show more brain, that these people are seeing detailed brain trauma at the University of Pennsylvania. Okay, so I'm going to check on that. I'm going to give you all an update, guys, but I just wanted to like kind of read through this because I've been wanting to get through this information for a while. And it has a lot, look, references U.S. Senate Committee on Foreign Relations, Subcommittee hearing, attacks on U.S. diplomats in Cuba, January 9th, 2018. So it has lots of great links down here too. And this is neurological manifestation among U.S. government personnel reporting directional, audible, and sensory phenomena in Havana. This is another JAMA report. This is only one of the JAMA reports. To DS, diffusion MRI of complex tissue structure thesis. Cambridge, Harvard University, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. There's a lot of really good references in this that we could all look at. I got so many other articles and things. There's so much information. So much information out there, guys. So much concrete, hypothesized, scientific information on what this has done to people's brains. Also on, just the weapon systems themselves. What the military-industrial complex has also just put out on its own about these weapon systems. We've got to put all this information together and our own experiences, and we put the puzzle pieces together, and we chase our leads. No giving up now, right? We've all come too far. We've all fought too hard to let anything. I guess God have mercy on whoever's soul gets in my way, and I hope you guys feel that way too. I guess I feel sorry for anybody who gets in my way, even though they've been murdering me and stuff like that. Told my attackers last night, I guess I just said it in my head, but they can read your inner voice with remote neural monitoring. I said, if I can't go through you, I'll go around you. If I can't go around you, I'll go through you. And it's bad when I do that, because the guy's like, I'm gonna shut him up tonight. He gets mad. That's what he just said. That's what the guy. I'm gonna shut him up tonight. I'm like, oh, what you gonna do? You're gonna use terrorism on me? You're gonna terrorize me? Because that's all he has. I mean, that's all these people have is like violence. It's like, oh, I'm thinking something in my head. You're gonna punish me for that? I'm being murdered and I'm angry about it, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna help. Like in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna help people, and y'all aren't gonna stop me. And the guy's like, oh, we'll see about that. I mean, like, who the F are these people? Like, why do they think evil is so cool? It's like my attackers are very. It's just like a job. Like it's very impersonal. Like, I mean, the guy almost says that sometimes. He's like, nothing personal, man. They picked you or whatever. They've said that. They haven't said that a lot. They haven't said that they picked you, but the guy, like the woman was saying, like, call it off. She says that a lot. And he said, I can't. They picked him. And he said that a couple of times, but it doesn't seem to be in the chatterbox that runs all the time. They picked him. So, if that can give us any information, doubtful, because it's all surveillance role play and blah, blah, blah. But that's what he said, I guess I am special. Somebody picked me in life, right? Alright, guys. I love y'all. None of us wanted to be picked for this. None of us. It's not fun. Not a fun thing, but we're here. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. My little cherry blossoms. Alright, guys. I love you guys. I'll definitely be back. This is way too long. I just wanted to kind of give you all the links, and then let me go back to University of Pennsylvania. That's the number 215-662-2700. I think we're going to have to go to the Department for Brain Injury and Healing or something like that. I'm going to have to look at that again, and I'm going to be giving y'all an update. Whenever I call them, I'll just make a short video, give y'all an update of what they said. I'm going to be trying to do, and I'm going to try and stop talking right now, but I'm just going to be trying to, like, when I feel like I can't do a long live stream, because I love doing live streams, but my back, my back has kind of been hurting. Not the fibromyalgia pain, but they're externally hitting my spine. And then, like, I'm really tired right now. I'm just gonna get my energy levels up. But if I ever feel like I'm too tired to do like a live stream, I'm gonna do something. Just do a short video, and then the short video is gonna turn into 2 hours, and then I'm gonna keep talking, even when I say, like, hey, I need to, like, okay, only an hour and 30 minutes. Okay, guys, I hope y'all are having a good Saturday night. Yeah, I'll probably put this out. Probably be out by like 10 or something like that. It's like 8:51 right now. I'll try and get it uploaded by like 10 or something like that. Maybe some of you guys that are staying up late, you might just look at this, and my pretty face can entertain you tonight. My little cherry blossoms. My little cherry blossoms. Take care of your crumbs. I'm really tired tonight. I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes you just got. I had a crazy day. Like, I talked to a lot of people on the phone. I was getting gang stalked while I was on the phone at a gas station, and just at the V2K. It's just goes on and on and on. You just find these ways to adapt and stuff like that. But sometimes I'm like, oh, the woman on my V2K goes, he's not crazy, he's smart, and the guy goes, he is crazy, he's retarded. And, like, a lot of times, like, I'll say it in my car. Usually I'll just say it in my inner voice, but I'll say, yeah, I am crazy at this point. I've been tortured for decades. Remote neuro weapons, remote neural manipulation to my brain, like in my visual cortex, my inner voice, V2K psychic driving all the time. Like, yeah, I'm insane, yes. I mean, I'm not like insane, like just mental illness. I'm insane because I've been tortured for so long. Like, I'm a really strong person. You guys out there watching this video who are target individuals, we're strong people, but good Lord, right? God help us. Father, just help us. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, in the name of Jesus Christ, dear Lord, just help us. Give us miracles. Thank you for this life. Help us to get more information out. Help us to help each other. Help normal people to get out of this gang stalking, this program, like, to stop doing it, and help good doctors, police, everybody good in the world to step up. Stop this junk. Thank you for the life you've given us. Thank you for the strength you've given us. Please just give us miracles every day. Give every targeted individual out there strength. Everybody fighting this strength and love in their life. Good people in their life. And help us to just keep going. But please end this program ASAP. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, in the name of Jesus Christ. Alright, guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna wait for it to get, because it's at 1:33, and I just my dad, like, the day after my 33rd birthday, my dad was got the high pitched ringing in his ears, and then after a week he had an aneurysm that he almost died of. I almost want to show that picture of him in the hospital bed right after his surgery with those staples, where, like, he looked like he wasn't coming back, and he did. He did come back, and now he's pretty much, he said he's living for us and the family, and he's waiting for eternity. And that's what he tells me. I'll say that, we need to prepare for eternity. Let's do the best we can in this life, but we don't know what's coming next. God's got good things in store. He's got a balance in store for you, no matter how bad it feels. If you just keep fighting, just keep faith. Alright guys, I love y'all. Sorry for the kind of the weird mood tonight. I'm in a weird mood. Y'all know how it is as targeted individuals. But I gotta keep getting information out. And I will. And you guys keep getting information out too. You guys that are putting information out. Namaste. Namaste. Alright guys, I love y'all. I'll see y'all on the next one. Y'all just take care and stay strong.